This is your friendly neighborhood coach, and this is the next installment of the Locker Room. Listen, I am here talking about all types of Cleveland sports, and we're going to get right into it real quick. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns versus the Chicago Bears and my scouting report on the Bears. We're going to talk the Shedeur Sanders update. All right, there's some big things going on in Shedeur Sanders. He got some awards this week. We're going to talk about that. Plus, I have a question for each and every one of you. Is Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat? Let's discuss that. I know a lot of you guys want him fired, but I want to ask the question, is he really on the hot seat? All right. Then we'll talk Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll talk about the loss to Indiana in the Big Ten championship. We're going to talk about the college football playoff scenarios that's going to take place. And we'll talk a little bit about the Heisman Trophy chase. I think Julian Sain kind of threw his way out of it. Fernando Mendoza, I think is possibly going to go ahead and take this thing. Then we're going to talk about the Cavaliers. Listen, they had a tough game against the Washington Wizards last night. Yes, I said it. They had a tough game against the Washington Wizards last night. So I'm going to ask this question about the Cavaliers. Is Spider getting frustrated with everything that's going on here in Cleveland? Is Spider Mitchell getting frustrated with his teammates? We're going to talk a little bit about it, and we're going to talk about how we fix the Cavs. And then at the end, I always have my coach's rant. So my coach's rant today is going to be about Johnny Football. Yes, Johnny Manziel. He's still running his mouth, okay? And so I'm going to address Johnny Manziel from a Cleveland standpoint, all right? So let's go ahead and let's get ourselves set and get ready and get in here for the Locker Room. Listen, the Locker Room is sponsored by Road Dog Health and Wellness. Listen, y'all, the end of the year is coming. I know you guys went through the holidays. Everybody then did what they had to do. And so everybody makes those New Year's resolutions. Everybody makes those New Year's revelations. And so I'm saying if you just go to Road Dog Health and Wellness on Facebook, on Instagram, okay, you can go to roaddogfitness@gmail.com. It's time to sign up, get yourselves together. There's a licensed personal trainer, I happens to be me, who will help you get to your health and wellness goals. So if you just email at www.roaddogfitness@gmail.com, or you can go to Facebook and go to Road Dog Health and Wellness, IG, Road Dog Health and Wellness. That is Road Dog Health and Wellness at gmail.com. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing going on. Let's talk a little bit about the Browns, y'all. So the Browns play the Chicago Bears this weekend. They say it's supposed to be like 50 below zero in Chicago. Everybody's just continuing to exaggerate, 50 degrees, or it's going to be 175 degrees below zero. And so this is going to be, I think, the fourth or fifth game for Shedeur Sanders. It's going to be some different type of situation. I'm not expecting Shedeur to go for 364 or 366. I'm not expecting for him to do that this week, but I am expecting to see him get better. This is going to be a challenge for him. Now, yes, did he play in Colorado? He did. He played in Colorado, and so a little bit of cold doesn't really bother him. I don't think it bothers him as much. So it actually is a test in terms of elements for Shedeur. But I do think that he will fare well. Is he going to make some mistakes? Yeah, it's going to happen. But I think Shedeur is going to control the tempo and the process of the game. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. All right. So this week, he also I believe he was given AFC Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Tennessee Titans. Okay. 365, 366. He had 3 touchdowns by air, 1 touchdown running. He had 1 pick, which was a bad pick. Talked about it on 3 the hard way. Not going to dwell on that. He's a rookie. It happens. All right. But he's doing really well. It's so funny how I sit back and I listen to all the talking heads and just to continue Shedeur hate. Now, let me tell y'all something. I am not a Shedeurian. And what I mean by that is I am not fanatical about Shedeur Sanders. Do I want to see this young man be successful? Absolutely. Do I talk against the narrative that this young man is not intelligent enough to be quarterback, or he doesn't have the skills to be quarterback? No, I speak against that all the time. My thing is this: when I talk about Shador, it makes me, I have to be honest and realistic when I assess him. So that's why I said I'm not a Shadorian. When I come out, if I'm critical about Shador, is a reason that I'm critical about Shador. Okay, there's a whole reason why I'm critical about Shador. When he gives the things that he does that requires for me to criticize him, I will do that. But in terms of, do I want to see this young man succeed? I absolutely positively want to see him succeed, because I know, I don't know if I go after Stefanski a lot, but I don't know what the narrative is on why there's so much hate thrown to this young man. And the way that he has handled it professionally. I don't care what everybody else says. Oh, well, he shouldn't have said this and he shouldn't have said that. I was listening to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show this week, and I listened to those. So I want y'all to understand, I'm a Cleveland guy. So Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, 92.3 The Fan, 3 The Hard Way Sports Podcast. I listen to all of that, okay? And so what troubles me is when I was listening to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and shout out to all those guys. I really enjoy listening to them, even though there are a lot of times I don't agree with them. Jay Crawford, of all people, the legend, Jay Crawford, been doing this for a very long time. I was very critical of some of the statements that he was making when it came to Shador against the Tennessee Titans. He was saying that, they still lost the game. No, what I want to let Jay Crawford understand is Shador didn't lose the game. He didn't win it, but he didn't lose it. Because one, he wasn't given the opportunity to do either. He wasn't given the opportunity to tie the game. He wasn't given the opportunity to lose the game, because Kevin Stefanski, of all people, once again, thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. Now, when I looked at the All-22, I understand that if Quinshon Judkins wouldn't have forgot the play, which he did, if he'd have handed it to Gage Larvadain would have walked into the end zone. Go back and look at the All-22. You will see it. If he was able to get a handoff on the reverse, Larvadain would have walked into the end zone. However, here's my problem. Why would you run a reverse and take the ball out of your quarterback's hands? He was on a heater. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? He was on a heater. And you take the ball out of his hands to run a reverse with Quinshon Judkins and Gage Larvadain. I'm going to let that simmer for a second. So for Jay Crawford to sit up there and say, Shador, they didn't win the game. Stop it. You know why they didn't win the game. Don't put that on that young man's shoulder. He didn't have the opportunity to tie the football game. It was taken from him because we have a head coach who believes that he's smarter than everybody in the room. Period. Okay? And I'm not saying the play would not have worked, but I'm saying you don't run anything like that when you have a quarterback on a heater. Let me break this down. If that was Aaron Rodgers, would Aaron Rodgers be benched? Okay? If that was Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, do you think that they would take the ball out of those quarterback hands? No. That's Kevin thinking he's the smartest guy in the building. Okay? Yes, Shador fumbled the ball with the first 2-point conversion. I get that. But this guy was throwing dimes, except for the one bad interception, which he atoned for that. But he was out there throwing dimes. He gets the team within 2 points of tying the football game, possibly going to overtime, and then you take the football out of his hands. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So for the talking heads this week in Cleveland, you guys are absolutely killing me. Now, is Shedeur Sanders a franchise quarterback? I need to see more. I'm not saying he is, and I'm not saying he isn't. What I am saying is this: he is better than any other quarterback that the Browns threw out there this year. He is better than Dylan Gabriel. He is better than Kenny Pickett. He is better than Joe Flacco right now. I said Joe Flacco right now. So my question to all my Browns fans out here right now, what if Shedeur Sanders wouldn't have been throwing to garbage cans and ball boys? What if Shedeur Sanders would have got some first reps or some second team reps? Okay, what would he have been? Okay, let's call a spade, y'all. All right. What would Shedeur Sanders look like if he would have taken Kenny Pickett's reps? Do y'all understand how dumb this is? Do y'all understand how stupid this sounds? Kenny Pickett took first team snaps and never once saw the football field in Cleveland, not even a preseason game. And then he was traded away. He wasn't even playing for the Raiders up until now. But Shedeur was throwing the trash cans and trainers. Now, I have heard that since he's become starting quarterback, Kevin Stefanski it's just been him and Kevin Stefanski in the quarterback room watching film going, and okay, fine. To me, does that save Kevin Stefanski's job? To me, no. But I ask this question: is he truly on the hot seat? Let's ask that question. Now, we know that Jimmy Haslam, a.k.a. the Timu Jerry Jones that I call him, said that he made a mistake on Deshaun Watson. Said it twice. Okay? Kevin Stefanski has made some of the goofiest moves this year, the year before, and the year before that. So let me downplay this real quick for those that's going to come to Kevin Stefanski's aid. When they come and they say, well, coach, he is two-time coach of the year. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. Kevin Stefanski, and I've said this on 3 the Hard Way, Kevin Stefanski is nothing but a used car salesman. That's what he is. That's how he talks. Listen to his press conferences. He says the same thing each week. I'm not going to get into whether he says Shedeur's name or not. To me, that's childish. I ain't got time for that. I'm talking about, let's get into the crux of Kevin Stefanski. Let's talk about the pettiness of Kevin Stefanski, all right? Number one, for me, I said this before and I'll say it again, and I dare somebody to disprove me, and I dare somebody to come against it. Kevin Stefanski has a problem with quarterbacks that have personality. He just does. He had a problem with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, why? Not only did Baker Mayfield have personality, Baker Mayfield had a bravado about himself. He had a confidence about himself, but he questioned stupid stuff. Example, when he torn his labrum and probably should not have been out on the field, because the job of a coach is to protect the warriors. Sometimes you have to protect a warrior from themselves. And so when Baker Mayfield tore his labrum, he should have never been out there on the field. However, Kevin Stefanski put him out there on the field against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt on the outside, perennial All-Pro. He put a rookie right tackle out in front of TJ Watt. And that game, TJ Watt went berserk. Him and Highsmith on the other side went berserk. And Baker Mayfield said this after the game. You go back and you find it. He said, I don't understand, and I'm paraphrasing, I do not understand why we start a rookie right tackle in front of a perennial all-pro. From that point forward, Kevin Stefanski was on a mission to get rid of Baker Mayfield. A mission. Because he was called out in the media. Because it was a stupid, stupid idea. Okay? Jacoby Brissett, locker room favorite. The guys in the locker room loved Jacoby Brissett. Now, Jacoby Brissett was not a starting quarterback, but there was a moxie about him. There was a grit that was about him. Kevin didn't like that. That's why Jacoby was not brought back. Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson was a bit different. Go back and you'll find out. Deshaun Watson told Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, Jimmy Haslam, D. Podesta, everybody who wanted to listen, John H. Johnson, all of them. Kevin Stefanski was showing Deshaun Watson his offense. And Deshaun Watson told Stefanski, I don't run that. Do you think that was a strike right there? He tells the head coach, I don't run this type of offense. Okay? Stefanski never wanted him. You know who Stefanski wanted? He wanted Kirk Cousins. Because that's the most success that Kevin Stefanski had was in Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a shell of himself. Now, I don't know if Kirk Cousins would have been something back then, but Kirk Cousins was a shell of himself, okay? And Kirk Cousins would not have helped that football team, okay? Fast forward now, we get to Shedeur Sanders, a kid who's brash, a kid who's bold, a kid who's confident in himself, confident in his abilities. Oh, by the way, he's the son of the greatest cornerback in NFL history. Let's see. Prime was brash. Prime was confident. He was bold, but he backed it up all the way into the Hall of Fame. But Kevin Stefanski, in my opinion, has a problem with Shedeur. He ain't got no choice now but to play him because the kid has won over the city. He's won the organization. Kevin has no choice but to play him. I dare him to put Bailey Zappi in. I dare him to throw Dylan Gabriel back in there. Dare him. They be down there at the stadium with pitchforks and punji sticks. So the question that I'm asking is Kevin Stefanski really on the hot seat? Why do I say that? I say that because some of the moves that Stefanski has made during the season have been fireable offenses in any other organization except the Cleveland Browns. Except the Cleveland Browns. Some of the in-game adjustments that he has made, some of the things that he has done during the season leads me to believe that he doesn't believe he's on the hot seat. Yes, the national media has been talking. Yes, the local media has been talking. Want Kevin's head. But you've heard nothing from Haslam. Andrew Berry has been in witness protection all year. I am being led to believe that Kevin Stefanski has a potential to come back next year. Now, I'm not saying this going to happen, but it's just too many things that are adding up that are making me kind of think about this whole regime may return next year. So don't find it too far-fetched, everybody, if Kevin Stefanski shows back up next year. Now, he could be fired after the Cincinnati game. the last game of the year. He could be. Okay. But will he? And then you ask this question: who do you replace him with? Tommy Rees has been talked about for the Michigan job. Okay. He's been talked about for other different jobs. And I've said this on my show, and I've said this on 3 the Hard Way. Okay. How would I fix the Browns? The Browns are in what's called a soft rebuild. This is what I'm calling it. It's a soft rebuild. They haven't torn the rafters down to the studs, but they're trying to rebuild slowly, quietly, while continuing to play football. So how do you do it? Number one, I'm going to talk to Jim Schwartz. If Jim Schwartz wants the job, Jim Schwartz has the job. And I'm going to tell you why. That defense is ranked number 1 or number 2 in the NFL. Why would you allow Jim Schwartz to walk away? Now, if Jim Schwartz doesn't want the job, then you have to go elsewhere. There's so many different candidates, and we've talked about this on our show. We've talked about this on 3 the Hard Way. If you haven't subscribed to 3 the Hard Way, I want you to go to YouTube after you get off here talking to me or listening to me, and go sign up and go subscribe and like and listen to the content. We've talked about it. Brian Flores. We've talked about Eric Bieniemy. We've talked about various different guys. Byron Leftwich, who's out here. And I think Byron Leftwich would be an awesome, if not head coach, he's an awesome offensive coordinator. And I think he would be the perfect fit for Shedeur Sanders. Okay. All right. And then, there's so many other candidates. I don't want nobody from college. I don't want to hear that. I don't want nobody from college. If anybody that I want from college, it would be Ryan Day from Ohio State, because Ryan Day was an offensive coordinator by trade before he became head coach for the Buckeyes. But any other college coach, I'm really not looking at any other college coach. Okay. But that's how I would fix the Cleveland Browns. I literally would make Shedeur Sanders my quarterback for the future. I would get a backup for him, a veteran backup like a Tyler Snoop Huntley. A Teddy Bridgewater, something of that ilk. I would get a veteran. And you can also think like this. Deshaun Watson is not going anywhere. So how do you like this? You have Shedeur Sanders as your starting quarterback, and you have Deshaun Watson as your backup with Dylan Gabriel as your third string. I can run into the season with that. I'm fine with that. It just can't be led by Kevin Stefanski. It had to be led by somebody else. Okay. It has to be led by somebody else. Somebody else say John Gruden. Okay, I can entertain John Gruden. He's been out the NFL for a while. I can entertain that. But that's how you slowly build. Last question, and I'll move on to our next subject. If you got rid of Kevin Stefanski, do you get rid of Andrew Berry? That's been a question that's been talked about all week. Now, here's Coach Young's thought about it. I believe that this draft, when you're talking about Harold Fannin Jr., Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Sampson, Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, when you look at that draft, I think each and every one of those gentlemen have contributed in some form or fashion. I believe that those draft picks have saved Andrew Berry's job. Now, some will say if you fire the head coach, you need to fire the GM. Nah, hold up. On contraire, mon frere. Hold up for a second. Because I believe Andrew Berry could pretty much get along with any coach that you bring in. Okay? But it has to be an offensive-minded, hardcore coach. What I mean by hardcore coach is not killing the players, but bringing a level of discipline and accountability into the locker room, because there is none. We all know Bubba Ventrone should be gone. That special teams has been an atrocity. Okay? But you got to bring somebody in that's going to hold people accountable. I'm not saying they got to be like Bill Parcells, even though Bill Parcells was the guy. Don't get me wrong. And I don't want Bill Belichick, y'all. This is what I'm saying. I don't need a whole lot of retreads. I don't want retreads. I want guys who, if they've played in the league, but has experience. Okay, that can take a young group, which the Browns are, can take a younger group and mold them into a championship ball club. That's what I'm looking for. All right, listen, if you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, I don't know what you're waiting on. You need to go ahead and get your subscription in. That means go to YouTube, the tube called you, and look up the Locker Room with Coach Young. You will see my face. You will see my emblem. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Because I always say you may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen. Okay, then once you do that, go ahead and hit up 3 the Hard Way. 3 the, you see this symbol back here. 3 the Hard Way. My man L Train, Lionel Jones. Shout out to Lionel Jones. Salute to the captain, Terrence Alston. Them my guys. That's what we do. We talk Cleveland sports, and that's what we always do. So if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. All right, to both of them. Okay. All right. Ohio State lost the Big Ten championship. Now, I know all you Michiganders, you people up north, were very happy about what happened in the Big Ten championship. Talking to my brother, shout out to the OG, triple OG from the CLE. He's a big time fan of up north. Don't know why. I don't know. My mama didn't treat him right. I don't know. He's just a Michigan fan, born and raised in Cleveland, but Michigan Wolverines fan. Just you go figure it out. I don't know, but I'm not going to dwell on it. I think he needs counseling, but it's okay. All right, so the Ohio State Buckeyes lost to the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten championship. Questions have always been asked. Does this loss really affect Ohio State? I don't believe so. I do give a shout out to Coach Stignetti and his coaching staff at Indiana. They completely confused Ohio State offensively. Julian Sain was confused. You could see that there was a lot of mix-ups when it came to coverages. He was completely confused. I did not realize how good Indiana's defensive line was. Indiana's defensive line was darn good. They were really good. They were getting after Julian Sain. They were shutting down the run game with Bo Jackson. Defensively, schematically, and let me say this, because I seen some people on my Facebook feed talking about, well, you had Jeremiah Smith on a 5'9" corner, and you had Carnell Tate. Listen, when people make those takes, it upsets me because they don't understand football. They're talking through emotion. If you go back and you watch the football game, Indiana's scheme to stopping Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate was pretty much perfect. They doubled and triple covered Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. So then you ask, who was open? Anybody else but those two. Okay? Anybody else but those two. All right? Brandon Ennis should have had a humongous game, but he didn't. Okay? Our tight ends. Because if you're going to triple cover one receiver and double cover the other, that leaves the middle of the field open. That means your slot receiver and or your tight ends should be open. But because Indiana was bringing so much pressure to Julian Sain, he didn't have time to hit those seam routes. So for those that think that Ryan Day choked, he didn't. He got out schemed. That happens. Okay? Now, for my Indiana Hoosier fans that I've seen come across feeds all week, talk about, oh, well, Ohio State's not that good, and Ohio State this, and Ohio State that. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all need to stop riding the coattails of these previous Indiana teams that y'all had that stunk. You need to stop riding the coattails of Pat McAfee, who's making y'all believe that y'all are invincible because he's Indiana. He's based in Indianapolis. Okay, so y'all need to stop. Okay, y'all need to stop. Now Signetti has come in and did a great job and turned that Indiana program around. However, don't act like y'all cats was winning the Big Ten over the last 15 years because you weren't. You guys stunk. Terrible. You guys are pretty good. But I will say this. You guys got one heck of a gauntlet that you got to go through to get to the Big Ten champion. Now, not the Big Ten championship, to get to the national championship. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the college football playoffs for the Indiana Hoosiers is this. They play the winner of Alabama, Georgia. Good luck. They play the winner by beating Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. They went to number 1 in the country, and Ohio State went to number 2. By Indiana going to number 1 in the country, they play the winner of Alabama, Georgia. Good luck. The Buckeyes play the winner of Texas A&M and Florida. Okay? Texas A&M and Florida. Now, my brother has an issue with the way the playoffs were set up. He thinks that the Buckeyes were set up to go to the national championship based on their seeding. I'm telling you, these Michiganders, boy, these Michigan Wolverine guys, they're just ultimately delusional, okay? Whenever Michigan wins, it's a great win. Whenever Michigan loses, it's a conspiracy theory. Just listen to them. Complete conspiracy theory. Oh, it's been set up. Oh, it's got set up. Oh, it's got... Stop it. All right. So, college football playoffs are going to be underway. Today, Saturday, is Army-Navy. And then next week, I think the first round of the playoffs go ahead and get started. All right. So, good luck to Indiana. Heisman Trophy. I'm gonna talk briefly a little bit. I think Mendoza is gonna win the Heisman Trophy. He's had a phenomenal year. I know there are other candidates, but the way he played against Ohio State, I think solidified him winning the Heisman Trophy. Do I think that the Browns should draft him with the first round pick? Absolutely not. I don't. I don't think there's a quarterback that can come in and once again, you can call me a Shadurian. I'm not a Shadurian, but I'm like Shadur Sanders. Give him the opportunity to be that quarterback. If it's not him, then you go back into 2027 when you get ready to move into the stadium in Brook Park and go ahead and bring your quarterback in. Okay. But I think any quarterback that you bring in, Shadur is going to outplay anyway. Okay. So, but I do think Fernando Mendoza from Indiana is going to win the Heisman Trophy. I love the kid, not only because he's a decent quarterback, but he's a believer. That's just me. I just love his energy after the game. I loved it. And so he took a shot in the beginning. I thought he got knocked out, but he came back and he led his team to the Big Ten championship and sitting on an undefeated season. Now, he can solidify his first pick status by how he plays in this playoff, okay? If he by chance gets past either Georgia, Alabama, gets to the national championship, wins the national championship, he should be the number 1 pick. Period. All right. All right. Let's take a second. Listen, guys. Like I said, it's holiday season, and everybody is getting their eat on, doing their thing. Probably picked up a couple pounds and now is ready to get it off. Or you just might be sick and tired of being sick and tired. It sometimes, we do too much and we're not taking care of ourselves. Well, let me tell you, as the owner and operator of Road Dog Health and Wellness, it is our job to make you healthy, happy, and whole, not just mentally, not just spiritually, but also physically, to make you healthy, happy, and whole. How do you do that? You do that by just joining Road Dog Health and Wellness. You can go to Road Dog Fitness, the website at gmail.com. You can go to Instagram, Facebook, and look up Road Dog Health and Wellness. You can reach out to me. We will set you up a comprehensive program that will not only help you mentally, but will help you physically and spiritually to be healthy, happy, and whole. Because the only person that's stopping you from being the best you is the person that you look at in the mirror. So come on and join me on this journey. We're getting ready to do a 90-day fitness challenge. So come on and join in and get ready to get yourself healthy. That's just go ahead and contact me either on IG, on Facebook, or you can email me at www.roaddogfitness@gmail.com. And always remember this: no games, no gimmicks. You got to grind. Let's go. All right, let's get into this. The Cleveland Cavaliers played the Washington Wizards last night. Or should I say the Washington Wizards played the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. That was probably one of the more frustrating games that I've watched because the Wizards had the Cavs down in the third quarter by 15. And it just looked like they were going to get blown out the water. But Spider, Donovan Mitchell, went supernova again. He ended the game with 48 points. I think 35 of them was in the fourth quarter. 35 in the fourth. I could be wrong, but I got to look at I'll look at the stats later. But I think it was like 30, 35 in the fourth. Because I think he only had like 13 in the first half. He went absolutely berserk. And then for some reason, Darius Garland finally figured something out. Kenny Atkinson has no answers. It's not Kenny's fault. Kenny is still coaching the way he coached them when they won 64 games. Now, have there been some injuries? Yes. Okay. Do they miss Jared Allen? Apparently so. Do they miss Larry Nance Jr.? Apparently so. Do they miss Max Strus? Apparently so. Because these guys can't play with their heads, they're playing like they got their heads in a hole in the ground. Okay. And the biggest problem with the Cleveland Cavaliers right now is defensively. Defensively, they are awful. They are absolutely, positively awful. DeAndre Hunter is a sieve. If DeAndre Hunter is not scoring, he doesn't even sniff the defensive end, period. Now I see why Atlanta brought him off the bench. I see right now why the Atlanta Hawks brought DeAndre Hunter off the bench. I have to add, I'm sorry, they miss Sam Merrill. They do miss Sam Merrill, okay? But not this much, all right? Watching them defensively has been agonizing. Darius Garland cannot guard, period. Let's just call it what it is. Darius Garland has an inability to guard his position. If Darius Garland is not scoring, and I've coached some kids who are like this, their offense was their defense. That's Darius Garland. I don't care what Kenny says. You watch how Darius Garland defends. Now, is he totally healthy? He may not be totally healthy. I get that. But if he's out there, you got to play. I think he was 0 for 10 from the three-point line. Did you hear me? 0 for 10. 0 for 10 from the three-point line. Okay? Donovan Mitchell went supernova. You can't always expect these young guys, your Jalen Tysons, to try to save you. Okay, Craig Porter came in and gave you some good minutes. Shout out to Craig Porter Jr. Okay, I think he should get more minutes. At point guard, I really do. I think he should get more minutes being the point guard. Okay. Hey, if y'all hear that in the back, that is Echo the Wonder Mutt. He is my protection dog. So don't pay no attention to him. He's protecting the fort here. All right. But if you understand basketball, you know that Craig Porter Jr. should be getting more minutes, probably Darius Garland's minutes, because Darius Garland is still trying to heal up. Okay. And one thing that Craig Porter Jr. does do better than DG is he defends. He can defend. And if you slip, he'll catch you in terms of blocking your shot or dunking on you. All right. He's a sleepy athlete. Okay. Naquan Tomlin had a bad game yesterday. He had a couple bogus fouls in the beginning. He fouled out in 9 minutes. That's going to happen. Okay. I like to see more Tyrese Proctor. Okay. That young kid from Duke can shoot the ball. I'd like to see a lot more Tyrese Proctor. Okay. All right. Bryant coming off the bench is a big. He's a serviceable big. I like what he brings to the table. Okay. We might need to reevaluate Larry Nance Jr. As much as I love Larry Nance Jr., we might need to reevaluate keeping Larry Nance Jr. If Larry Nance can't hit the outside shot and he doesn't not necessarily defend like he used to, he's older, why? Okay. So the question I have, is Donovan Mitchell frustrated? Absolutely. I know he's trying to cover things up, but Donovan Mitchell can't go out for 4 minutes and this team is down by 20 because they cannot defend. I've said this on my show many times. I'm going to say it again. If you guys are waiting for Evan Mobley to turn into the second coming of KG, Tim Duncan, Giannis Antetokounmpo, if y'all are waiting for him to turn into one of those guys, I really need y'all to stop drinking that Kool-Aid because he's not going to do it. He is not mentally capable of flipping that switch and becoming that guy. That is not in Evan Mobley's arsenal. Evan Mobley believes that he is a 4. He does not believe he's a 5. But Evan Mobley does not understand that if he played the 5, he would be a perennial all-star at the 5. Because there's only a couple of people in the league that could possibly outplay him at the 5. That's Jokic, all right? Embiid. He plays Wembanyama very well. Go look at the footage. So Victor ain't coming in just dominating Evan Mobley. It doesn't happen. Okay? Other than those centers that I have mentioned, okay? And maybe the young kid in Houston. I seen him bully him around a little bit. There's not too many centers in the NBA that can outplay Evan Mobley. But Evan Mobley's problem, and I've stated this before, is he's fallen in love with the three-point shot. And he's a shooter. He's not a maker. There's the difference. Okay? He's a shooter. He's not a maker. All right? So how do I fix the Cavaliers? How if I was sitting back, if I was Kobe Altman, how do I fix the Cavaliers? It's not as easy as you think, because to me, it requires having to get rid of one of the core 4. Because it's obviously not working. It's not working. Or if I'm not getting rid of somebody within the core 4, I'm switching up lineups. Now, let me explain. You got these young lions on the bench: Craig Porter Jr., Tyrese Proctor. Jalen Tyson is doing fabulous right now. Naquan Tomlin. So I'm telling you right now, I'm giving Naquan Tomlin some minutes. All right. I gotta give him some minutes. Jalen Tyson is already getting Max Strus minutes. Period. Okay. Naquan Tomlin needs to get some of Dean Wade's minutes. Because Dean Wade, even though I know at 6'10 he can defend a little bit, Dean Wade can't hit the broadside of a barn. When they kick the Dean Wade in the corner, I think I'm more exasperated when they kick it to him than when they do Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball can't shoot his way out of a wet paper bag. Now, he hit a couple shots last night, but consistently, Lonzo Ball can't shoot. And I know Kenny's sticking with him. If Lonzo Ball becomes a consistent shooter, I'm not saying three-point shooter. I just said consistent shooter. Lonzo Ball becomes hard to guard. Because if you stay away from him at the three-point line, he'll hit one or two of those. That makes you have to come out. If you come out on Lonzo Ball, he's quick enough, he can handle the ball, he's going to get past you. And he's a willing passer. So now he's just beating down your defense. But if Lonzo Ball can't hit the outside shot, why would I waste my time guarding him? Period. I'm not going to waste my time guarding him. Okay? But Naquan Tomlin would get some of Dean Wade's minutes. And Craig Porter Jr. would get some of Darius Garland's minutes. I said this last year. And I mean, people looked at me and they wanted to hang me in effigy. I once said to bring Darius Garland off the bench. I think if you brought him and Jared Allen off the bench, how many second unit point guards can deal with Darius Garland? How many second unit bigs can deal with Jared Allen? Now you say, if you sit down Darius Garland, who do you start at the point guard? Craig Porter Jr. He's earned it. Why? Because CPJ plays defense, where Darius Garland, even when he was healthy, does not. You can't just post up Craig Porter Jr. because if you put the ball in his face, his vertical leap is so he's going to go get it. You put Darius Garland on the post, that's an easy 2 points. Because he's either A, going to foul you and you'll be at the free throw line, or B, he's just going to let you score. Very simple. Okay. So that Kenny Atkinson, and I said this, Kenny Atkinson he's basically practicing during the regular season. That's what he's doing. He's practicing during the regular season. Yes, the Cavs are losing games, but you got some young cats that are getting some invaluable experience. Okay. I know Kenny had the meeting. They had a 5-day break, and Kenny had a meeting, and Kenny told the truth. And the truth is this: other than Donovan Mitchell, everyone else, and those bench guys, Jalen Tyson and those guys, everyone else has been playing like stir-fried, hot buttered, sauteed trash. Jared Allen broke his finger. Trash. Darius Garland, not all the way healthy, but playing like trash. Okay? DeAndre Hunter, trash. And I'm not talking about them as individuals. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying as right now the way they're playing. Okay? Trash. Evan Mobley, trash. Because they're trying to turn Evan Mobley into something that he's incapable of being. That's the only problem I have with Kenny Atkinson, is Kenny is trying to turn Evan Mobley into something that he's incapable of being. And I mean that. I hope if he figures it out, praise him. But I don't think Evan Mobley is built to be that I need a instantaneous bucket and I'm going to throw the ball to Evan Mobley. And I've also said this, and you guys can go back, all my basketball coaches who see this, all my former basketball players who see this. I want y'all to do this. I want y'all to go back, look at Evan Mobley, and look at his post bag. Look and see his post moves on the post. Evan Mobley has no post moves on the post. With his back to the basket, he is like a fish out of water. Somebody prove me wrong. I'm telling y'all this right now. Evan Mobley has no post game. That's why he stands outside shooting all the time, because he does not have a legitimate jump hook. He does not have an up and under. He doesn't lower the shoulder and try to displace you and throw a jump hook left hand or right handed. He doesn't. Look at Evan Mobley's bag, and somebody please respond in the comments, send me an email, whatever it may be. Tell me where Evan Mobley has this big time bag. He doesn't. I.e., while offensively, he's limited. Now, if he can develop some post moves, some up and unders, a slight fade away, 5 to 7 feet away, things of that nature, is going to open up his game. I believe that he should be playing free throw line extended in. If you really want to kind of Draymond Green him, then put him at the free throw line. So if teams go zone, he's at the free throw line. If teams go man, put him at the free throw line, because there's not a center that'll be able to guard him from free throw line in. Because if they want to back off, he can hit that free throw line jump shot consistently. If they want to guard him at the free throw line, he's quick enough to get around a lot of these centers. So I just think schematically they're just not playing Evan Mobley the right way. But I believe in Kenny Atkinson, and I believe Kenny Atkinson will figure this out. So just stay patient with the Cavs, guys, just like I will. Keep being critical of them, as I will. I truly believe that after the All-Star break, when everybody's back and healthy, the Cavaliers are going to go on a run. I just believe they're going to go on a run, period. All right, before we get into our last topic, I want to let you guys know that I will be coming on probably about 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on Saturdays. I'm going to change my time so that I can be within a good time range for all my people in Cleveland and all my people on the East Coast. So I'm going to change my time. So the Locker Room will be on at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That is, I think, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And if you guys, like I said, I'm going to continue to work on this thing. I'm continuing to try to be technologically sound and get things together. Hopefully, I'll get this thing together. I like this platform. I like what I'm doing. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it as well. So, like I said, if you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, go to YouTube. Go to the Locker Room. You can type in the Locker Room .34. All right. And then just go ahead and just join, just subscribe, like, comment, all of that. Okay. I'm still working on my editing skills. So I'm getting better. I'm going to get there. Promise you I will. But I always love talking about Cleveland sports. Okay. Love talking about Cleveland sports. For those of y'all that are waiting for me to talk about the scandal at Michigan, I'm not going to do it on this platform. I'm going to do it on 3 the Hard Way. So that's not a teaser. That is called a spoiler. Because I'm not going to do it here. So I'm going to tease you, so you're going to come over there. So go to 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast. We're going to talk about what happened at Michigan, why the Michigan head coach was dismissed. But we're going to come at it from a different aspect, because there's a lot of variables to this. And I say this as a former coach for, young people. There's just a conduct that you have to have, especially being an African-American coach. and I'll leave it at that. And we'll touch on that. So there's your spoilers, your teaser. Join us on Three the Hard Way, and we will definitely talk about that. So finally, what the way I end my program is I always go into what's called a coach's rant. Y'all excuse me, the sunlight is coming in here real good, and I'm trying to get this glare out, but it's a little hard, so I had to sit back. So my last topic, um, I call it a coach's rant. I'll talk about things that I see, talk about things that I've heard, and so my coach's rant for today is Johnny Football. For those that don't know Johnny Football, his name is Johnny Manziel. And I saw where he was on the show with Pac-Man Jones. I originally saw him. He was on Club Shay Shay with Shannon and Ocho Cinco. Shout out to those guys. And then I think I saw him. It was him and Braylon Edwards were having a conversation. I just recently, as of yesterday, saw him. He was with Pac-Man Jones, and he was speaking on Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm sick and tired of seeing Johnny Manziel. And I'm sick and tired of seeing Johnny Manziel talking trash on the fans of Cleveland, on the organization, all that. I'm not really worried about the organization, but the fans of Cleveland. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. Here's a guy that was throwing to Mike Evans at Texas A&M. Yes, he won the Heisman Trophy. But if you're throwing to Mike Evans, I think you win the Heisman Trophy too. Okay? When you can close your eyes and just throw the ball, and Mike Evans, who was a men among boys at A&M, okay, so you won the Heisman Trophy. Then you got to Cleveland and stunk up the joint, okay? And now you Bobby Bitterman because you see other people trying to be successful while you turned out to be, NFL-wise, a bum. Now I understand he has some things that happen off the field, and I'm not going to elaborate on that. Every man has their vice, every man has their troubles, every man has their issues. And I will say this, I applaud him for coming up out of it, okay, and being able to persevere and get through it. I commend Johnny Manziel because there are many people who are dealing with substance issues, substance abuse issues, who are struggling, who can't find a way out. And I pray for those people. But I'll give Johnny Manziel his flowers at this point because he did overcome them. Now, having said that, I'm sick and tired of him talking about the fans of Cleveland and talking about how Cleveland mistreated him. Cleveland didn't mistreat him, okay? Let's call it what it is. Johnny Manziel was ill-prepared. He was immature. He had no idea how to be a professional and how to play professional football. No clue. And it showed when he got out there. He was unprepared. He never studied his playbook. He never did the things to make himself successful. But he wants to blame everybody else. And I'm tired of hearing it. Accept the fact that you underachieved at the pro level and walk away. But I'm tired of people putting microphones in this guy's face just to crap on Cleveland. That's not going to happen on my watch. It's not going to happen on my watch. Johnny Manziel, as an NFL football player, was straight garbage. He was garbage. He couldn't even make it in the CFL. He was trash. So just admit that you had a lackluster career. Now, I can't say that the Browns organization treated you greatly because I wasn't there. But I know the fans supported you. The people of Cleveland supported you. And this is how you repay them. And all these former players, shout out to Pac-Man Jones, Uncle Shannon, Ocho, all y'all guys. I don't have no problem with y'all giving him a platform. I don't. Not that y'all care what I say. But I do have a problem with him crapping on the people of Cleveland. And every time he comes up crapping on the people of Cleveland, I'm going to have a response for him. Football. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about when he played for the Cleveland Browns. He was not prepared. He was immature. Okay? He thought he could do the same garbage that he did at A&M, and it didn't work. Now, he didn't have the necessary receivers. I'll admit that. But don't sit there and say that the fans treated you bad. If the organization treated you bad, I can't defend that. But when you start talking about the fans, when you start talking about, the Cleveland media, and I'm not no big fan of the Cleveland media, but during your tenure, they tried their best to make you out to be bigger than what you were. So I'm here to say, if Johnny Manziel continues to trash the Cleveland fans, I'm going to continue to come at his neck, because I'm not one of them. I don't have that. I don't have the disrespect of the hardworking fans and the hardworking people of Cleveland, Ohio. I will not allow it. That disrespect will not take place. And if anybody want me to come on a platform to address Johnny Manziel straight up, I have no problem in doing that, because I will eviscerate him. Because you're not going to sit up here and talk about the Cleveland fans the way your garbage career came. You had complete control of who you could have become, and you didn't. So every time I see Johnny Manziel is one. Braylon Edwards ain't too far behind, because Braylon Edwards been talking a whole lot of trash too. And his last couple years in Cleveland, Braylon Edwards couldn't catch a cold. So I don't want to hear nothing from Braylon Edwards. I don't want to hear nothing from Johnny Manziel. I don't want to hear nothing from either one of y'all. Okay? Because Braylon Edwards had one good year. Well, who did he have with him? He had Joe Jurevicius on one side. He had Kellen Winslow Jr. He had Jamal Lewis in the backfield. Okay? Derek Anderson was his quarterback. There was a team. That was a pretty good team. Okay? So I'm done talking about Johnny Manziel until he comes out again. All right. Let me get out of here, y'all. This glare is killing me, y'all. Let me get up out of here. Listen, if you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, I want you guys here on Facebook. I want you guys to go to YouTube, and I want you to look up the Locker Room with Coach Young. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I see you, Lawson. I see you there. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you have not joined 3 The Hard Way Sports Podcast, that's 3 The Hard Way. If you have not joined that sports podcast, go to YouTube and go and look up 3 The Hard Way Sports Podcast. All right. And like, comment, and subscribe on that. Okay. I will be back again on Saturday, 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. All right. This is what I do. I talk Cleveland sports. As y'all see those 3 symbols in the middle? Yes, welcome to Cleveland, because I'm born and raised in Cleveland, love Cleveland. All right. I am from 189th Street and Harvard Ave. That symbol is in the middle. And I'm a proud member and graduate of Warrensville Heights High School. And so that's what we talk about, everything Cleveland. All right. So, like I will always say, all right, you may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen. And also, love on somebody. Tell somebody you love them. Don't always assume that they know.